Hello everybody. Getting my camera working. Hope everyone's going to join today for our hypnobirthing, which is exciting. Hope you're having a great Sunday. Hello. They're joining. Everyone's joining. Hope everyone's well and having a lovely Sunday. It's going to be a big storm here. Oh, Kieran's already here, which is exciting. So Kieran just asked to join. So very excited to have Kieran on board to talk about hypnobirthing. So let's get started because it's 12 o'clock. I've done my hair today. I had it done today. Usually it's up in a pigtail. Right. Hello.
Hello.
How are
Hi,
you?
can you hear me?
Well, your hair's done too.
Oh, yes. I thought I'd get a bit fancy.
I just had it actually done because normally it's just in a mum bun all the time. Every time I go to have an Insta Live, I'm like, right, I'm going to do my hair, but don't get round to it. Thanks for joining us.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited. And I'm always excited about everything, but, I always reflect back to introducing you, Kieran from Bear Your Birth, hypnobirthing person. I always think back, my littlest is 9, and I always think back, because you remember every baby and first time and all that sort of stuff, about things that I was either interested in or what would be great now if I was having a baby now. So that's, why I want to build a little community for everybody. But when I was having Izzy 9 years ago, it wasn't called hypnobirthing, but there was definitely beginnings of that sort of thing. And I found it really interesting, but it wasn't enough for me to be able to use it in my birth. But that's why I'd love to hear about everything you do and how it helps. And like I was saying, Taylor introduced me to you. Beautiful Taylor, is now helping me. She's doing an amazing job. But she loved you and you helped her with her birth. So, I love, so exciting. So let's start from the beginning. Like what do you give new mums to be, expectant mums? Like how does it all work?
So if they decide to work with me and learn the Hypnobirthing Australia techniques, they would come and have some lessons with me. So it's around 12 hours of lessons that we do. So we break that up either over 2 full days on a weekend, or we can do evening sessions as well. So they can either work with me so they can work with me privately, which I would then go to their homes, or they can come and join a group class.
Right.
Which means that they would come to a venue that I've all arranged. So there can be a lot more flexibility with the private classes, obviously, which is really good for people like with FIFO workers, because it can be quite hard to actually, be here when the group classes are. Some people just prefer to have the convenience of it. Like if someone's got an older child that they can't get watched, then I can go in an evening when, the baby's in bed, and then we can really focus on that birth. So they'll get that. And then as part of the service that I offer, they have full phone and email support from me right up until they give birth. So if things come up in appointments afterwards, or if they're just starting to feel like they're kind of spinning out of control a bit or feeling a bit anxious, and they can kind of either send me an email or jump on the phone and have a phone call with me, and I can help kind of talk them through that and move them through that point.
Because again, I'm a mum of 3 and my eldest is 14, but things have changed so much in the last 10 years. Insane. But now that I'm doing this as, well, I don't like calling it a business because I'm so passionate about it, but 3 and a bit years now, oh my gosh, how things have changed, but it's still the same motherhead. Doesn't matter what year we're giving birth, but so many things are happening now where, I feel like poor mums, there's too much information. And like you said, it's a bit of having these people that can really focus on birth or really focus on lactation and sleep. It helps them with that whirlwind. But so tell us a little bit about hypnobirthing. Like, what would they expect? I know, so that's great that that's what you give them. In the tool to be used within birth, can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so it has been around for a really, really, really long time. I think from what I can see, probably in the last maybe 3 or 4 years, it started to become quite a lot more popular. People are actually realizing that it's not so weird. I think a lot of time people hear the word hypno and are quite turned off that it might be hippie or weird, or that they'll just be zoned out. We do use hypnosis, but it's self-hypnosis. So we can't force them to be in a state of hypnosis, and we actually teach them techniques to be able to come out of that state if they don't want to be in it as well.
Yeah, right.
So that's one of the tools that we use. But the first unit that we do, it's all about mindset. So such a big part of it is mindset and understanding what our bodies are doing and what fear can actually do to our body. So a lot of people go into birth completely unprepared, or just think, I'll just go with the flow. But then when it comes down to that moment, when they go into labour, their body is just flooded with fear, which can have such a big impact on the way that labour progresses.
For sure.
So we really focus on that kind of mindset work and understanding what's happening through that time. The next unit that we do, we teach them about tools. So it's really practical. So we use things like light touch massage and acupressure. We use visualize. No. Well, they can use acupuncture if they want, but that's not something we teach. But we do use the same points in acupressure.
Right.
So there's different points that will stimulate to try and help with different things that they might be experiencing. So say if they're feeling a bit of anxiety, there's acupressure points that can be pressed to try and help with that, or to try and help as a natural labour induction. So yeah, there's lots of different things that we can use that for.
Wow.
We use things like affirmations and visualizations because they're really good at rewiring our brain. So when we talk about removing fear, we have to do a lot of work to be able to actually change those beliefs that we hold. So, you know, people are grown up thinking that birth is scary and fearful. I mean, if you think about the way that it's portrayed on TV and in movies and things like that, you see the woman going to labour, her waters break, and, you know, she's screaming and rushed into a hospital. And that's kind of the image that we have of birth. So really trying to rewire our brain and remove those kind of images through that repetition with things like affirmations and visualizations. Yeah. And the hypnosis that we do, that self-hypnosis, can really be seen as just getting into a really deep state of relaxation as well. So it's nothing that needs to be feared. And there's so many techniques that if someone tries that hypnosis and doesn't like it, then there's a lot of other tools and techniques that can be used to help as well. Yeah.
And so obviously so for example, if you had a single parent, a single mum, that, you know, would you always need someone to support them through that, or would the tools, you'd still be able to use the tools if you not that anyone's often in birth by themselves, they'd be having someone, but would they normally need a birth partner, or, you know?
Yeah, we do recommend it. A big part of it is feeling having that support.
Of course, yeah.
So even if it's not a partner, even if it's a mum or a sister or a doula, then we do recommend it. In saying that though, if the woman doesn't have anyone or doesn't want anyone, we have everything that we need inside of us as birthing women to be able to do it. So you can still definitely use the techniques and get a lot of benefit out of it if you don't have anyone, but
always good.
It would be recommended to have someone there, yeah.
Jessie Juggles 3, love you. Hi, Jessie. She was saying, she's gone. She said, goes through part, hypnobirthing is so amazing. Staying calm through my labour to it. 6 hours only felt like 2 hours to me. And, you know, that's the whole thing. And even, because birth is, no matter how brave you are, you know, every time you go into a birth, and I've done it 3 times, you pack your pants. Like, you don't know where it's going to go or how much it's going to hurt, or like, you just do, no matter how calm you are. But, you know, the thing is to be able to, like you said, really control your mind, I suppose, isn't it?
And just understanding the process. So some other things that we go through is actually we go through what it will look like in the days and weeks before labour, and then what it will look like during labour, and then the time afterwards as well, because that can actually remove a lot of the fear, just understanding that process. And also we go through things like the woman's rights during labour and in childbirth and things like that, so that they've got more of an idea and what to expect about if things don't go the way that I am hoping that they go, then I still have tools available to be able to make an informed decision and an educated decision about the way I want my labour to progress, instead of feeling like I'm having to make a decision out of fear, which, you know, fear, you have that fear tension symptom. So every time you feel more fear, you feel more tension, and then it's just a cycle, and it's really hard to break. So,
and which you can relate to in life in general, like not only
absolutely
to like an amazing experience, but can be hard as well. You can do that on your daily basis. Do you find that over the years, like I've seen a lot of hypnobirthing happen at home. So do you feel like, well, not that it would really matter, but that midwives and the hospitals are happy to support the mums through their hypnobirthing experience?
Majority of the time, yes. I would be lying if I said that every single midwife and every single obstetrician was welcoming it with open arms.
Yeah.
But it's a very small minority.
That's
At the
good.
end of the day, it makes their job easier because the woman is so much more in control
Calmer.
and relaxed and calm that it just makes their job so much easier. And if something like hypnobirthing is really important to you and your care provider doesn't support it, then I'd really be encouraging to have a think about whether that's the right care provider for you. If they're not making you feel good and they're not supporting your decisions, then there's no reason that you can't change who your care provider is. And that's something that we talk about as well. So making sure that you've got that support around you to feel safe. You need to feel safe, supported, comfortable and loved to be able to progress through your labour. And if you're feeling scared and not supported by the people around you, then you're not really going to be setting yourself up for having that positive experience.
Exactly, absolutely. So what got you into doing this? I mean, you've had, what's your passion about? Tell me about your why
So mine started when I fell pregnant with my first. We had a struggle to fall pregnant, so we ended up having to use IVF. So all of my focus and attention for the longest time was on falling pregnant. And then I finally fell pregnant, and of course I was over the moon. And it only took probably around 3 or 4 weeks after finding out that I was pregnant that I started to feel like deep fear and anxiety within inside me. And I just thought, I have to get this baby out of me. How do I do that? So we tried to find a doula, but I was due on the 2nd of January. So every single one that I contacted was going away. So I thought, okay, well, I can't find anybody. I'm just going to have to do it. You know, women do it all the time. It's fine. Do it by myself with my husband. I just kind of pictured us having, like, I felt like I need a referee between myself and my husband because I'm not the calmest of communicators in a stressful situation, which is how I pictured birth to be, just full of stress. So I just kind of left it. And as I got closer into my 3rd trimester, the anxiety inside me was just higher and higher. And I did my hospital antenatal classes and they talked about all the pain relief options. And I was just like, I don't want any of those. Like, I don't like the sound of any of those. I need to find something to help me, which is when I kind of stumbled upon hypnobirthing. So we did our course at 36 weeks. So I kind of just scraped it in.
So you did it for yourself?
And so I did it for myself. My husband sat through the classes with me. And we had a really, really positive experience, and the information that we received just completely changed my mindset so quickly about the way that I could birth and just birth in general. So I had a really positive experience. I had an unmedicated water birth, which was quite important to me. And then I started to really think about, more women need to hear this. Why is this not out there more? And how can I help women to get this information? So that's when I started kind of looking into being able to teach it for myself. And funnily enough, it was about a year after my first was born that I had my midwife found me on Instagram and wrote to me and said, I still think about your birth. Like, it was absolutely incredible. Wow. Which I was like, wow, if she's remembering my specific birth after, 12 months after it's happened, and that's obviously not the norm for her, because if it was the norm, it would just be another birth for her.
That's right, yeah.
So that's when I really started to think, okay, maybe there's something that you can do to help. And then that's when I decided to train and teach the program myself. So I've just given birth 10 weeks ago to my second, and I use the same techniques as well. I had a planned home birth this time.
Oh, you did?
But use the techniques.
So obviously we're not talking about complicated birth. There's so many things that can happen in a birth, of course, so we're not talking about that. But so when you went into your second pregnancy birth, obviously the anxiety was a lot less because you'd had that first great experience.
Well, I mean, it was almost non-existent. I'm only human, so there would be periods of time where I would think, oh my God, what am I doing? Can I really do it a second time? But because of the conditioning that I've been doing with my mind, I had a lot of really strong techniques to be able to come back to not letting that consume me. So that's the type of thing that we teach,
And how was your home birth experience?
It was incredible. Yeah, I wanted to have a home birth because I had always pictured my second birth being really quick, and I didn't want to have to transfer to hospital and have an accidental car birth, and I didn't want to have an accidental home birth. I wanted to be at home, prepared to be able to birth where I felt really comfortable. So that's why we had decided to go that way. But basically my waters broke, and then an hour later I started getting surges, which we call contractions.
Okay.
And then 2 hours later I had her in my arms.
Wow.
So it was very quick. It was really intense, very, very intense, but very quick. And yeah, it was just so incredible to be able to like tuck up on my couch and snuggle it with my family after it happened. Yeah. And so we woke up, it happened in the evening. So we woke up my toddler about an hour after she was born. So she got to meet her straight away. So yeah, it was a really beautiful experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, you know, me being a little bit older and having my first, you know, 15 years ago, it's all fear-based. It was all fear-based, like back in there for an epidural, you know, like basically. And I had a few mums that did it without drugs, but not intentionally, like the babies came really fast. But if there was nothing back then to be of calm. I'm sure there would have been somewhere if you really looked, but it was just like, I've got to deal with this pain. And, you know, rather than, wow, this is incredible. This is incredible that your body does that. And I had to have epidurals because I had a Caesar for the first, which for me, I hated. I was really upset about that, but she was frank breech. So I had no choice. So then I wanted to do a VBAC, which I did, but my obstetrician would only do it with an epidural. But for me, with my experience, is for me, Caesar was very painful and an awful recovery for me. Some of my friends had them, they were fine. But the natural birth, even though I had a little bit of tearing and everything, your body, I was like, that's amazing that your body does that.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh my gosh. And as soon as the baby's out, the pain's gone. Like, not gone, but the things that your body goes through, like, and I had, like I said, stitches and stuff, but I was like, oh, this is amazing. So by the time I had my third, I still had to have that epidural, but I would have asked for it anyway, to be honest, because I was so scared. But it was a really great experience. And it's amazing.
Our bodies are literally designed to do this. And unfortunately, the way that a lot of the language and things that are used in the maternity system do not support women understanding that their bodies can do that. A lot of it is fear-based, and even just standard hospital language is not really supportive of empowering the woman. And I want to make sure that I do make it clear that hypnobirthing isn't just for a natural unmedicated birth. Hypnobirthing is about empowering women to make the decisions that they want to make that's important to them to birth. So if they
have an epidural, like it's still
absolutely So, and a lot of like the calming and breathing techniques that we use, people use them while they're getting the epidural, because, you know, you have to sit still while it's happening, which can be quite painful and uncomfortable. So all of that can help.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Even with a cesarean, you can still use the techniques if you have a cesarean. And if someone knows that they definitely have to have a cesarean, whether that's for a medical reason or whether they choose that they just want to do it, Hypnobirthing Australia actually has a positive cesarean course. So there's one specifically for that. So it's about making sure that you can make those decisions along the way.
Because I just didn't feel
and making that. That's right.
And the Caesar was awful, and the whole idea of you getting you're awake, and you know, I don't even want to go into it too graphically, but you know, it was all fine. Everything's been fine. My kids are healthy, everything. But I'm just talking about my personal experience of why I want people, beautiful mums who have found me, that there's this platform. Oh, that sounds like a good idea. That might support me through that, because I want that for new mums, that there are people like yourself and, like I said, lots of people to support the mums in their decisions, whatever that is.
Absolutely. You know? And those births,
elective, you know, like non-elective. Lots of my friends did that, you know. Yeah.
And sometimes women will think that they want a Caesar, and then if they do the course, they actually understand just what their body is capable of, and that they can do it, and then they change their mind. Really? Or we've had people change from hospitals to birth centres, or, you know, just understanding can really make what you want different. And that's really cool. And even if it changes again, like there's nothing set in stone, and you're welcome to kind of make whatever decisions you want along the way that feel good. So it's about making sure that you feel empowered in those decisions and those choices.
Yeah.
And even understanding what sort of questions to ask your care providers. So they might just say, we have to book you in for an induction because you're going to have a big baby. And if you don't know any different, you just say, oh, okay, no worries. But if you've kind of been learned how to ask questions, then you might say, well, you know, what are the risks if I don't get induced versus if I get induced? There is no risk option. Everything has risk. So it's about knowing how to weigh up the risks and the benefits for whatever option is presented to you.
That's fantastic. So how old's your eldest? How long have you been doing it for?
Oh, so my oldest she was 2 in January, so she's nearly 2.5, but I've been teaching for about a year.
Oh, that's exciting. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, I just, like I said, I'm trying to build a little community for people to have a base, because particularly since COVID, I'm doing a lot of this, which has been fantastic, and getting out further, but a lot of expectant parents. And, you know, like a lot of them are saying, because I've been doing expectant parent seminars, there's too much information. We don't know where to start. We're frightened, you know, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But if they just have one place to go to, then they can really have that personal, you know, information from that one person and feel like
Yeah, absolutely. And there's nothing worse than jumping on Google trying to find answers to things. So at least with something like hypnobirthing, we give you a part of what you get with the package is extra links for reading, for research. And all of the links and stuff that we give are from reputable sources. So you know that you're actually getting, you know, good information that will help you weigh up those benefits and those risks.
Exactly.
And I can always get more information for clients if they want it. So they've got that one place that they can come and find information that's going to help them make those decisions. Yeah.
And ask you. And that's what I find with sleep. So for me, as, you know, the years evolve with what I'm doing, I'm very passionate about getting the information to expectant parents about sleep, because it's a biological need. And yes, they're babies and you do lots of cuddling, but age appropriate wake times, all these small little things that people just don't know about can really, if you've got a bubs that's quite settled and hasn't got a bellyache, they'll learn to sleep well quickly, and that's what they biologically need. But it's just getting the information out there, because like people saying, there's too much information, so we actually stop looking. That's the other thing. Because it's just
information overload and overwhelming. So can you do courses like this virtually? So because I've just had my little girl, I haven't been teaching at the minute. But yeah, if there's people that aren't in Perth and they don't have access to anyone else, then I can definitely do virtual. And lots of my colleagues have been doing virtual classes as well, so it still definitely does work. There is a lot of hands-on stuff, so if you can make it to face-to-face, then that's better, but it is a really good option if that's not possible. And I also think of people, like for me, I like to get to people in regional areas. Like I grew up in the country, and I'm really passionate about country people too, and they don't have that availability. So, you know, I think to know that they might be able to use someone like you, and it might not be exactly the same, and they just can't get to the city, well then, you know, that's a fantastic opportunity for them too. Yes, definitely.
That's fantastic. So thank you so much for popping on here, and like I said, we're able to save it now, which is great, so then everyone can come back to this. But you know, thank you so much for explaining what you do, how it you know, supports mums to be able to, and I really loved that they can support parents and their decisions, whatever they want around birth, be it elective, epidural or whatever. I think that's really fantastic that everybody.
There's absolutely, there's no failing, and everyone needs to make the decisions that feel good for them, because my positive birth isn't the same as someone else's positive birth. And so it's about creating your own experience.
Yeah, exactly. And some people, it's like breastfeeding. You know, someone was speaking today said, I just didn't like it. I felt like a cow. And I'm like, but that's okay. It's not you're not a failure. You've got a healthy, beautiful baby, and it's bottle fed. So what? You know, but we feel so guilt about making that decision. You know, like I just want mums to get rid of as much guilt as possible and make the choice that they want, you know? So really, really great. So so thank you so much. Is there anything else?
No worries.
Or
I just saw Taylor wrote a comment a little bit earlier. She said, my midwife said that when you walk into a hypnobirthing room, you can feel such a difference. It's so true.
Yeah. I bet.
And when I gave birth to my first, it was a really, really busy day on the ward, and word had kind of spread about how calm our room was compared to every other room. And I had so many midwives come to me once we'd moved to the rooms, coming up and saying how they'd heard about, you know, how calm and how amazing it was. So it is something that, midwives do really love to have in the room with them.
Of course. Because if they had those tools, they'd give it to them. But, you know, they only meet them at that spot, and midwives are amazing and they try and calm you down as much as possible. But your mind as a mum, it's interfere-based, isn't it? You know, straight up.
Absolutely. And they can't be expected to teach you the whole physiological, you know, process of birth when you're in labour. That's just too late. You need to be preparing beforehand.
Absolutely. So look, I will be, I'm absolutely wanting to do lots more focus on expectant parents. I'll be doing regular seminars. I'll be letting them know all about you. And I think it's, I think it's a fantastic, fantastic thing that you're doing. And obviously with the passion, you've done it yourself.
Yes, absolutely. I know it works.
Yes. For sure. And, you know, I've seen, you know, you see them, well, again, it's like meditation or in life, you know, I meditate, I try to do a little bit of meditation every day. It's changed my life. Same sort of thing, crazy, hectic life, calm, you know, same with birth. So I find it's all sort of linked, but I think it's amazing. So well done. Well done.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks so much for coming.
No worries. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks everyone for joining. Bye.